Hi, I'm Mike Gosby, and welcome to a short video on how to get the most out of your Customer Advisory Board. If you recall some of my earlier Customer Advisory Board videos, you'll know that I define the Customer Advisory Board as a strategy level focus group. But oftentimes the term CAB gets confused with other meetings. There's customer advisory boards, partner advisory boards, technology advisory boards, customer councils, executive roundtables, leadership groups, and all of these have a unique purpose. They are not all the same thing, yet they're often confused with the terms customer advisory boards. So before we move forward, I like to distinguish between the two so you have a better sense of where they fit. I like to use this graphic that I call Understanding the Voice of the Customers, and it's built on a pyramid model. And let me describe this for you briefly. On the y-axis, you'll notice I've got tactical topics versus strategic topics. And this does not mean to imply that there's any more validity or importance from strategic versus tactical, only to illustrate that there are different questions that fit different times and different types of conversations. So the base of the pyramid, one of the implications of the base being wide is that there are many types of conversations happening all the time through many people within your organization. And these topics of discussion are typically tactical or operational in nature, and the focus is on real time. This is where feedback forums, customer feedback mechanisms, social media, and client satisfaction or customer satisfaction surveys fit. Above that layer is a layer that I call product direction. Now here the focus is on short-term or mid-term, and what I mean by that is that the discussion timeline is typically 6 months to 18 months out into the future. And this is where your typical product focus groups, your user groups, and your online forums typically fit. But it's at the top of the pyramid that I want to draw your attention to, the layer of the pyramid that I call strategic direction. Now this fits with a focus that I view as being mid to long term in nature, meaning it's between maybe 18 months or 3 years, and in some cases it may go as far as to 5 years in the future. This is where advisory boards and executive roundtables fit, and this is where I want to focus our discussion today. Back to the notion of the width of the pyramid. As I mentioned earlier, the base of the pyramid indicated that you would have lots of people in your organization talking to lots of different customers at any given time. But as you move up the pyramid, that base becomes narrower and narrower. And when you get to the strategic direction element, you're basically talking about only a dozen or so customers talking with members of your executive staff. It's a very intimate group. It's a very focused group, a very focused discussion, very different from what happens at a tactical topic level. So, what is a customer advisory board? Let's add some flavor to this. An advisory board, as I mentioned earlier, is strategy level focus group. It's by invitation only, and it typically seats around a dozen customers around the table. You might have a few more, you might have a few less, but it's meant to be an intimate dialogue with a dozen or so of your best customers. And the expectation is that they would participate with you in an ongoing conversation that might take place over an 18-month period of time, meaning that they would attend 1 or 2 face-to-face meetings with you per year, and they might be part of an ongoing dialogue via phone calls or email or WebExes at various points in time. The typical advisory board format usually has a networking reception or dinner the evening before, and then a full day meeting. I also wanted to distinguish between advisory board and executive roundtables because occasionally an executive roundtable or an executive summit might also be a way to test the concept of the advisory board. It might be a way to test whether this type of engagement works for you before you commit to a longer term advisory board engagement. So an executive roundtable or summit Again, it's a strategy level focus group, same as a CAB. It's by invitation only, same as a CAB, but it may have fewer clients. In this case, you might have 6, 7, or 8 typically involved. The expectation, though, is for a single meeting. And you may use this as a format to test the notion of the CAB before you commit with a longer multi-year agreement. There are two options. One option is that typically these might happen during a breakfast or possibly a half-day meeting. Usually it's a couple of hours long. Or you might have something a little bit more robust that might include a network reception or dinner followed by a full day or maybe a half-day meeting. So there's various flavors. Again, the primary difference is an executive roundtable is typically shorter in nature, and there is just one meeting expectation for this, rather the CAB advisory board has an expectation for a longer term dialogue. However, I also wanted to talk about what a customer advisory board is not. It is not the same thing as a board of directors, nor is it the same thing as a sales event, a boondoggle, product focus group, user groups, product launch venues, or customer support reviews. So success requires matching the right questions to the right customers at the right time in the right venue. Again, back to my pyramid diagram I shared earlier, it's very important to match the right questions to the right type of dialogue, strategic versus tactical, and then inviting the right members of the right customers to attend. So why would you want to host a customer advisory board meeting? Well, first and foremost, it will help you learn how to be and stay relevant. It will help you strengthen your customer loyalty. It will help you win more customers like these, and it will also help you discover how to focus your business so you can drive your competitive advantage. It all boils down to something I call the big question. And I'm willing to bet your big question is something like this. For us to be a leader in our industry and to be relevant 3 years from now, what do you, our customers, think we need to do? And the advisory board is the perfect forum to have this conversation. Agenda topics you might discuss might include compliance issues, industry trends and drivers, the evolving nature of your customer business's priorities, your brand strategy and image, competitive landscape, etc., etc. These are strategic topics. Notice what is not on this list. Product updates, product demos. Now, this is a business level focus group, and these are topics that will help you answer your big question. So, having said that, why would customers want to come to your advisory board meeting? They come for three primary reasons, and these reasons are always the same, regardless of what industry you're in. First, they value the opportunity to network with their peers on strategic business topics, and you being the host of the advisory board, you're providing that forum for this group of senior executives to come together to share and collaborate and discuss strategic topics that they have a mutual interest in. That's always their number one reason. Two, they want to understand and influence your vision and business strategy to their advantage. And three, and this is intangible, but equally important, because you are genuinely, sincerely interested in their opinions. When customers know that you really care about what they think, they look forward to the opportunity to be with you, to share their opinions, to offer some guidance, and to learn from that experience as well. But you have to be genuinely, sincerely interested. If you're not, customers will be able to tell that you're not, and they will shut down. They will refrain from sharing their opinions, and they won't come back again. So, if you have these three items, you offer an agenda that allows for networking with peers on strategic business topics. If you are open and provide an invitation to share your vision and business strategy and to get some feedback on that, and you are genuinely interested in that dialogue, you will not have a problem filling the seats around your customer advisory board table. These are just a few of the tips and best practices we've learned and discovered since starting our customer advisory board business back in 2002. Since then, we've helped companies design and execute more than 100 advisory board meetings. And I think what makes us unique is we've been in your shoes. All of us have held senior leadership and VP level positions at high-tech B2B companies. And so we've got a great degree of appreciation and empathy and understanding for the business challenges that you have, the pressures that you're under, and your goals and objectives. And we like to participate not just as your facilitator, but as your partner, as an extension of your staff through every step of the advisory board preparation process. Our methodology is flexible and agile. We understand that every company has a different business model and every company has a different culture. And our methodology takes account of those differences and provides some flexibility so you can feel comfortable and confident that this process will overlay your other priorities that you're dealing with. These and many other best practices about advisory boards are covered in depth in my books on customer advisory boards, which you can find on Amazon or at my blog site, customeradvisoryboards.wordpress.com. For more information and best practices on customer advisory boards, I invite you to contact me at mikeg@kickstartall.com or visit me at www.kickstartall.com.